churning and heaving till the cell finally comes into view, and I am afforded a clear look of what's inside. Oh my god! Achievement unlocked, Death Knell. Oh my god, Zach. Hey guys, it's Katie and welcome back to The Letter. In the last episode, we continue in Rebecca's chapter. We're at Isabella's and we are packing her things up for her family. We decide to help Ash pack up Isabella's things, and we come across some photos of them together, and Isabella has drawn like a little statue on Ashton's face, and they kind of, reminisce about, the times that they have spent together. While Ashton is talking about Isabella, Rebecca realizes his true feelings for her. After they're all done packing up Isabella's things, they kind of wait at the threshold and they kind of realize how big of an impact Isabella has made on their lives, and they kind of just, don't want to leave it at that. We get into Ashton's chapter and he kind of blames himself for Isabella's death and not listening to her. When Ashton is on his way to BRC, he remembers everything his friends have been telling him and about Isabella's death. We skip through some dialogue and Ashton goes to Rebecca and Isabella's apartment. He decides to break in Isabella's apartment for more evidence. Then Rebecca and Zachary stop by. They all decide to investigate. The ghost appears and they end up running to the park to spend the night there. Then they head over to the Galaway Shawl to get some rest. So Ashton tells Rebecca to look out for Zachary, and he kind of goes off and does his own thing, and he heads over to the precinct to pick up the letter. He heads to the mansion, he comes across Marianne's body, and he heads deeper into the mansion. We skip into Luke's chapter and we see more of the story of Lady Charlotte and her husband Edward and the servant woman. Lady Charlotte is having a meal with her husband, and the servant woman is serving them some tea, and they kind of act like, a happy, lovey-dovey couple. In that dialogue, I guess there was some jealousy there, probably for the servant woman towards the husband. Then we see a scene of them fighting, and the husband says that she has defiled herself in some way, so I'm still kind of curious what that is about. We skip to the end and Luke decides to burn the letter. In Isabella's chapter, we decide to stay at home again and to decline Rebecca's offer, and she ends up dying from the ghost again. For Hannah's chapter, we decide to open the cellar hatch. She starts acting differently the night of the housewarming party. When Rochelle accuses Luke of infidelity and that, she's pregnant with his child, Hannah kind of stands up to her and says that she's not welcome in any of their businesses or any of their establishments anymore. Instead of taking Luke to the foyer to have a talk with him about his infidelity, they dance the night away and she's calling him her prince and stuff like that. Another creepy thing is that Hannah wants no one near Luke at all. The next day, Luke is about to head to work, and Hannah kind of asks him, why doesn't he work from home? He should be with her. And she kind of is getting this very jealous, demeanor about her. Johannes is trying to help him get dressed for the day, and she kind of takes over. And she's being very clingy and obsessive. Hannah walks Luke out to say goodbye to him, and she won't let go of his hand. So, she's acting like a completely different person. Hannah is just more cool and composed, and, they are two different people. They have their own lives, and, Hannah's been very understanding about that, and now she's just completely obsessive and, doesn't want him to have anyone come in contact with Luke whatsoever. So as soon as Luke leaves, Hannah goes into the mansion and she finds herself in the attic, and she looks under the bed and there's a loose floorboard, and she looks inside of it and she finds the servant woman's, Takako. I guess her name's Takako. I guess she finds Takako's necklace, and she goes to her bedroom and she puts on Takako's necklace and she takes off her old one, the Evans family heirloom. And then she starts looking very possessed. We are back in Zachary's chapter, and we're at Isabella's place after she had gotten murdered. And he overhears a conversation between Ashton and Inspector Abagail. Inspector Abagail thinks it's the Anselm butcher that killed Isabella and Rose Cooper. And I thought I heard something about, like, she found a letter, but I'm not sure if that's the letter that was at Isabella's or if she said that Rose had her own letter. After their conversation ends, Zach hands Ashton back the photos of Isabella. We skip forward to the day that Zach goes to the mansion to look for Ashton, and we decide to go through the window this time and see where the woman's voice is coming from. So Zach goes into the mansion's parlor window, and he is calling out to the woman, seeing if she needs help. And as he's about to leave, Johannes comes in the room, and instead of flying out the window or diving out the window, he turns around to go talk to Johannes, and Johannes knocks him out, and he wakes up in prison. He goes to call out to one of the police officers to get his phone call, but then we hear someone humming his mom's favorite lullaby. He is about to turn around when Hannah's voice comes out from the prison cell where he is. And it's like, how the hell did she get in there, He jostles the bars to see how she could have gotten inside, and they talk for a little bit. Like, he kind of misunderstands the situation. He thinks that Hannah came to visit him. Once Hannah's been talking to him for a while, I think it starts to sink in that something is definitely off about Hannah. And then she starts, getting mad at Zach, saying that he brought it all on himself. She's saying how he has upset her prince. All of a sudden, she looks all crazy and possessed, looking at Zach, saying that she wants to take his eyeballs and stuff like that. It's really disgusting. Hannah ends up killing Zach. For Marianne's chapter, we choose to stay with Lorraine again. We get back into Rebecca's chapter, and when we're packing Isabella's things this time, we choose to assist Zach. And we come across her sketch pads of drawings of Rebecca, Zach, and Ashton. And they kind of reminisce about, who she was as a person. She loved to draw people. She was very artistic, and she was a very loving person. Then it's the night of the housewarming party, and Rebecca witnesses Hannah standing up to Rochelle and kind of putting her in her place. As she's about to leave, she looks back at Hannah and she sees this twisted smile on her face. So let's continue where we left off. And now I think we're in Ashton's chapter. Let's continue where we left off. How should I even go about this? It's confidential.
It's confidential, Rebecca. Cook, Combs.
The Cooper woman? Oh yeah, you went there. Christ, Frey, at least check the reports for the other cases. Let's see. Rose Pamela Cooper, real estate agent, found dead in her flat the other day. Same modus operandi. Scene was clean, blood and entrails everywhere, whoop-de-doo, there goes my lunch, and a message written in blood.
The job. Her job. Where did you say she was working?
I didn't say anything, but it's Briar Realty, same one as this girl.
They were the agents who handled the sale of the mansion to the Wrights.
Yep. Big news, that one property. Got a relative working in that real estate company once. He was laid off a year ago, along with a few dozen employees. I actually thought they're about to go under. Guess not. But 2 employees from the same company dead in the span of a week. If I didn't know any better, I'd say they did something fishy with a deal and things somehow got awkward with the client, if you know what I mean. This might be the result.
Oh shit. 6, 5, 4, 1. 3, 6, 2, 7. 5, 4, 2, 3, 7. Oh my god. 7, 6, 5, 1, 3. Oh my god. 1, 2, 9. Oh my god, 3, 8. Ah! Oh my god, she was so close. Oh my god. I hate that. Ugh. Oh my god. October 30th, Sunday. Uh-oh, we're gonna find out about Zach soon, aren't we? Oh no. In the end, after the third attempt with no one answering, I stop and cut the call with a ragged exhale.
Waiting game it is then.
Oh my god, I feel like in my stomach. I've been trained for those. Hell, I'm used to them. Just not when it comes to people I'm close to. Much as I keep reminding myself to maintain a level head, it's a whole different matter when it's someone you know. Isabella's death has proven that. Personal feelings will likely get involved at some point. It's starting now, actually, with the anxious strings coiling and uncoiling, causing a racket inside my stomach. It still annoys me that all I can do right now is grit my teeth and trudge back to Isabella's apartment. Useless. That's what I am in the face of this. A mad dash around Luxborn and Anselm isn't going to help things. It's not like I'll simply stumble across them on the side of the road during a drive. The city's a too big place for one person to go searching for only two people.
That'd be like finding a needle in a haystack.
With one last frustrated glance towards the open skies, I prepare myself for the long wait. I might have already grown used to this, but the waiting will always be the hardest part. More so when it's the people you care about, and sure enough, boredom strikes minutes later, followed closely by anxiety. I need to be doing something, but what? I've already gone through those papers from BRC last night, twice in fact, and I'm still at a dead end. If Rebecca were here. Hell, if Isabella were still here. All of a sudden, my ringtone breaks the moment, and my attention shifts towards the source. Before I can even wallow in my mistakes, I hastily put everything back together. Turn off Isabella's laptop and leave the room to answer the phone. Hopefully there'll be some good news this time. Unrelated frustrations aside, once I step out of the room and accept the call, the stone that has been stuck in my stomach simultaneously lodges itself up my throat. The person on the other side of the line isn't who I'm expecting.
Right, AI3, right? It's Officer Renz over at the Precinct.
Oh my god.
You know, you bring me donuts to keep an eye out for you and shit.
Oh, yeah, right, Renz, what's up? You've, never called me through this line before. Is this something urgent?
Yeah, kinda. Something came up this morning. You know the big guy? Your, buddy? Big guy. Around 6 feet tall.
Zach?
I don't feel too good about this.
Yeah, him. Zachary Steele, I think.
What about him?
He's been detained and
Wait, what?
What do you mean he's been detained?
they brought them in this morning.
That's not what I asked. What are the charges?
I don't know.
Oh
Not
my
my division.
god. Oh my god, are we gonna come across Zach's body? Oh my god.
I'm not really supposed to be on the phone right now, but I thought you want to know. Anyway, I gotta go. If you want to see him, just drop by.
Wait, I thought he died at nighttime though.
Not sure how that'll work, though. The chief has a standing order not to let you into the precinct until Monday.
Yeah. Thanks for the heads up. I'll bring you some coffee to go with those donuts, too, next time.
The call ends with a click while I'm left here reeling, staring blankly at my phone.
What the hell did you do, Zach?
Still no word on Rebecca either. Looks like a trip to the precinct is in order today. I might as well make sure the big guy is okay. Oh my god. Oh my god, I don't want to. I love Zach. What other choice do I have? I mean, even seeing... I love all these characters. Seeing Isabella, seeing Zach... this is so hard. Sighing, I lock the door to Isabella's apartment, and within 5, I'm on my way to LPD. No. At least, I know where Zach is now. That explains why he's not answering his phone. But how did he get himself in this mess? He said he had a plan that might help, but if it got him into enough trouble to get himself in a cell, I don't think I like that plan of his. And hell yeah, I'm mad. I'm absolutely furious. I doubt Zach will get himself arrested because of an actual crime. But whatever stupid stunt he pulled to get there isn't any better. The only good thing today so far is the fact that the streets are nearly empty, so early on a Sunday morning. Very few pedestrians and virtually no other car on the road to get in the way of me rushing to the precinct. Within the speed limit, of course. A whirlwind of activity welcomes me as soon as I waltz into LPD HQ. Fellow officers running here and there, pushing around paperwork and answering calls. It's almost Halloween and troublemakers are abound. Calls about pranks gone wrong make up most of it this time of the year, along with the occasional altercation or missing dog. Some of the other officers who work with me look up from their desks and wave, though none of them moves to stop me like I'm expecting. Standing order my ass. It probably didn't last a whole day. Although I'd like to have a chat with them sooner or later about official matters, I'm not here for them right now. Of course, it never hurts to see what they have for me, and the best person to ask for details in this precinct is the guy behind the booking window. He glances up at me once when I approach, then immediately returns to his task, indifferent. Not that I need his full attention. As long as he talks, I'm good.
Hey, I heard there's a new guy in the holding cells.
Not many here know Zach, and if they've seen him, they don't pay too much attention. I try to keep my work and personal life as far away from each other as I possibly can. Each one of them is quick to chat, gossip, be the one to talk about the new detainee, and have everyone's attention.
News flies fast, huh? They just brought him in this morning.
Ooh, Scottish?
Any info on him?
Got his ass handed by some rich bloke's bodyguard. Or butler, whatever. When we got to the scene, he's already been strung up and ready for pickup. Hard to imagine how a guy like him could have been taken down, but the butler has this creepy air to him. I'd rather not ask. Feel sorry for the bloke, he could have fought back.
But I know Zach wouldn't hurt a fly. He's not that kind of person, and knowing he might be in a bad state, whatever little anger I've built for him on the way here dissolves into thin air.
Has he been booked yet?
No, still sleeping. Creepy butler probably hit him hard.
He's still sleeping. I'm telling you, this happened last night. How could he be brought in the morning? It was dark. Which is a good thing. If they slip up and forget, we get him a writ of habeas corpus and take him out of there, depending on what he's actually being charged with. But at the same time, it's bad. How long is he going to be unconscious? I'll be worried about serious injury if he's out cold for too long. Whoever hurt him has a lot of explaining to do. To me.
What's he in for then? Must have been something if we got a rich fat cat involved.
Your friend was caught on right property, and you better believe I'm not happy about this. Not one bit.
I want to say that there must be some sort of misunderstanding. Zach isn't the type to do such a thing unless it was his plan all along. In that case, I couldn't just charge blindly into this without all the details, no matter how much I want to believe my friend's innocence. And Wright? Luke Wright? What on earth was Zach thinking? In any case, it doesn't look like Chief is happy, even if I don't protest and give him a salute. Not pleased at all if the fact that he grabs me and pulls me aside is any indication. If I were to describe his expression, he looks ready to kill me.
I swear, Frey, if you're behind this, if you told Steele to stalk the rights because you were taken off the case,
I'm not stupid enough to ignore chain of command and go against official orders. Give me some credit, Chief.
And you better be sure you didn't. Luke Wright is coming here, and we both know he's trouble.
Oh my god.
I'd consider your friend lucky if he only gets charges put against him. Maybe if we can make sure he's in a good mood, he won't escalate the situation. Hell, maybe we'll have a bloody miracle and Steele only gets a slap on the wrist, but Lord knows it's unlikely with that man.
You know him well, Chief.
An observation, not an accusation. But it might as well be with how things panned out from the night of the housewarming party to the morning that followed. His wife's familiar with them too. Who's to say that friendship hasn't colored the investigation into Luke Wright? I don't want to accuse my superior, but damn it, he makes it difficult.
Of course I'd too, shouldn't you? We've been looking into the guy for so long. I'd call you a bad detective if you can't even tell me whether he's right or left-handed.
That's an easy one. He's left-handed, but he's been taught to use his right. You can tell when he picks something up with his left hand, but when he realizes that, he moves it to the right.
Well, at least I don't have to question your ability. Anyway, if I were you, I'd either go and make myself scarce or sit down and shut up. Don't go aggravating people, basically, because you have a knack for that at the worst of times.
As much as I hate to say it, but he's right. It's better to keep my mouth shut and not make things worse for Zach. There's not much to do now but hope for the best. They don't call for an investigation when it comes to petty felonies. Worst case scenario, he's looking at a fine worth 5,000 pounds and 6 months in jail. Whoa! Best case scenario, we get the charges bumped down to trespassing, a misdemeanor and juvenile offense, and he'll be given probation and will be charged for restitution. At this point, those seem to be the most likely outcome. I don't see how he could have been framed for breaking and entering unless he was taken into somebody's property against his will. Even in my head, that sounds unlikely.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. I think I'm a delight to be around.
Tell that to my blood pressure pills. Anyway, let me handle him, alright?
I want to see Zach. Right on cue, the moment she says that, you know who arrives. And like the arrogant show-off that he is, he makes sure his arrival is well noticed by everyone within the immediate vicinity. The guy ignores the front desk. Even when Benjamin tries to greet him, he just blows past him, walks in all high and mighty as if he owns the place. Meanwhile, that creepy butler of his trails behind like a tame dog on its leash. It doesn't help either that the other officers stop whatever it is they're doing and stare. Whether it's out of suspicion, curiosity, or judging by some of their starstruck looks, awe. They should quit it, get back to work, and stop giving the man the attention he's obviously seeking.
I'm here to report a crime.
Of course, why else would you be here? You're either reporting something or being put behind bars, you imbecile. I'm going to...
Calm down, Ashton. No need to rile myself up. I need to calm down, not for him, not for myself, but for Zach. It's already difficult holding back when his face looks like it could use a good right hook. Better to just let the chief handle him. Sure enough, he's the first to walk up to him, bearing a smile way too friendly for comfort. Looking at them like this makes me sick to my stomach. It's easy to know there's something up underneath the guise of keeping up appearances.
I'll be happy to assist you with that, Mr. Wright. You'll have to issue your statements as victim and witness. We'll have to determine probable cause and properly file a criminal complaint. Of course, you understand.
Oh, I understand, though I don't see why you can't file that thing yourself. The cause is obvious, isn't it? He was breaking into my home in order to pilfer my belongings.
Well, we'll still need that police report. The prosecutor will be the one to determine what charges you can legally file against the accused.
Reports and prosecutors. Why should we law-abiding citizens suffer through all that? Thugs like him should be kept off the streets. I mean, it's so obvious who these people are. You can practically spot them.
Wait, hold up. Is this guy for real? Can he hear himself? He's not saying what I think he's saying, I hope.
We come here to our country, take advantage of our wealth and generosity, while we proper Brits work hard and pay our taxes.
You need to calm down, Luke. You're saying some really inappropriate things.
All the while they break our laws and ruin our civilized community. Trash like these should be kept contained. These uneducated...
Hey.
Now, Mr. Wright. I know you're upset about what happened, but perhaps we should move to my office.
Of course. The sooner we can deal with the petty criminal, the better.
I can't believe the audacity of this guy. Did he really think himself better just because he was born rich?
I swear they should just ship these peasants back to where they came from. They're all criminals. It can't be helped. It's in their genes.
Despite myself, in spite of every restraint I've placed on me, upon hearing those words, I can't help but open my mouth. Chief's warning be damned. This is my friend he's fucking shitting on. Oh! Oh my god, Ash. Call him out.
They're all criminals? It's in their genes?
Why no?
Come here and say that to my face, you bastard!
Oh my god. I realized my mistake only after the words have tumbled out of my mouth. True, I shouldn't have put myself out on the spotlight like that. But this guy, this fucking guy.
Oh, and who is this loud young man?
Should have kept my mouth shut. It was either call him out or rush him. Like, I was gonna freaking attack him? Like, hello? I'm at work. He glances at me like I'm a flea, a pest. But it's more disgusting how everyone here can't see how rotten he is.
Frey, stand down! I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. Luke, you have to excuse him. He's under a lot of stress. Just got removed from a case and the man is an acquaintance, you see.
I can't believe you're all just listening to his shit.
Oh my god, do you see Luke's face right now? Oh shit! I accidentally hit enter. Oops. But I'm not taking any of my words back because he is an utter bastard. From the way he stares at everyone in this room, of what he has done to Zach, it all reeks of the rot that is Luke fucking Wright. Even after so many years, nothing has changed. He's still the same slimeball who does everything to get what he wants.
The thief is a friend of a cop? Now that is the start of a joke if I've ever heard one. A thief and a cop walk into a bar.
He's not a thief!
And yet we found him trespassing on my property. There are eyewitnesses, and his grubby prints are probably all over my pristine walls as he was breaking in. Face the facts, little policeman. We've made the wrong sorts of friends.
He's not a criminal!
And that is the truth, but with the way everyone is looking at me right now, this must have been how Isabella felt when we didn't believe her about the letter. Just the thought of that leaves a bitter taste in my mouth.
Calm yourself, Frey! Unless you want me to throw you in a cell myself.
Oh my god.
I understand you're upset that your friend is locked up, but the law is the law. And don't you worry, I won't be pressing charges against you. I don't know what charge, but I'm sure I can think of something if I need to. Do put a leash on your people, Chief Inspector. He might hurt himself. Being that angry can't be that good for his health.
I'm livid. Holy crap. An LPD officer informed Ashton of Zachary's detention. Immediately, he rushed to the precinct, where he met Luke Wright, there to file the charges against Zach. When the detective confronted him, he was immediately ordered to stand down, much to his anger. Fists clenched and jaw tight, I'm nearly ready to just sock this guy good and make do on that promise of a right hook. My frustration about it all must have shown, because only now do I realize that the other officers have also jumped in to hold me back all this time. They don't even let go of me, not until Wright and the chief are out of my sight. And it's awkward going on from there. The precinct is quiet, though the usual hustle and bustle of activity stayed. Everyone is making a concerted effort to shut their mouths about the whole scene. I wish they made the same effort to keep themselves from staring at me, though. They all want to talk about what just happened. But at the same time, they don't want to acknowledge that it did happen and refuse to even make eye contact with me. I don't give any of them the chance to talk to me about it anyway, only leaving a stern order with the nearest officer.
Look out for Zach while he's locked up, will you?
Dude, you're not gonna check on Zach? What is wrong with you, Ash? That's it. I have no further business here. I have no case, no assignment, and I sure as hell am not going to stick around to see what the chief has for my bad behavior. Winding myself down, I march out of this place as quickly as possible before anything else happens.
Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe
So
City.
before I can make it back to my car, my phone rings. A quick glance at the caller ID shows Rebecca's name blinking on the screen. Without wasting any time, I answer the call. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear.
Ashton, are you there?
ragged, a bit out of breath. There's a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon prior to this call.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Well, Zach's in a bit of a tight spot right now.
Define tight spot in this context, Ash.
I'll tell you about it later. There's nothing we can do about it now. Where are you, by the way?
Home, I had to make a quick visit to the library. Listen, Ash, that thing Isabella told us about. There's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. I'll meet you there. This is related to that.
I don't like the sound of that, Ash. But, all right. And please, hurry.
Gotcha. Give me a few minutes.
She mumbles a goodbye, then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for, yet that call left something strained in the air. Thankfully, I don't have to linger in it for too long. The drive back to Samwell only takes a matter of minutes. I find her pacing in front of Isabella's room, hands clasped tightly in front of her as she treads the small space offered by the hallway. The second she looks up, apologies spill out from her mouth first.
I'm sorry, Ash. I was in a hurry.
It doesn't matter. What's important is you're here.
Not burnt to a crisp or brutally murdered somewhere. Whole, alive. Although she seems a bit shaken, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. At least now I can relax, ease the pressure off my shoulders, if only by some.
Anyway, let's head inside. We shouldn't be talking about this out here. You have a copy of her key, right?
We're borrowing Isabella's flat? What is this really about?
She has some files in there, also related.
She merely nods in understanding.
I hope you know what you're doing.
However, the minute she moves to fish out the key, she winces. A small reaction sets a precedence for a careful observation nevertheless. A closer look at her reveals a much more disheveled appearance than usual, hair in a bit of a mess, probably flattened in a hurry. The back of her dress also shows stains of dirt in places it rarely gets into. She's also leaning more on using her left arm. She's right-handed. Perhaps the most telling is the slight limp she has once she leads me into the room. It all spouts a hatful of questions. What exactly happened and how she ended up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that. But she never gives me a chance to bring it up. The second we're seated in the tiny living room, she gets straight to the point and asks about Zach. Typical Rebecca.
All right, no more suspense. What happened to Zachary? And I don't want you to mince words. Tell everything as it is.
He's been detained. The police arrested him this morning.
Arrested? Why?
She raises up her eyebrow in question, and I quickly fill her in on what happened. From the moment I've gotten the news down to the very person at the root of this trouble. The very person he's been friendly with from the start. She falters the second I drop Scumbag's name, disbelief all over her features.
Are you sure it's him? This must be a mistake.
Yup, quite sure it's the bastard we saw at the precinct, in all his pompous glory.
What was Zachary even doing in the mansion? Breaking and entering? Are you kidding me?
Hold on, I want to see where that led us on the branching tree. So, we went down this path? No, that's the confidential one, right? Stretch the truth. So now we're up here, right? How do I unlock that, though? Wow. We are filling him up. Look at this, 81%, 81%, 75%. Ashton's 46. Wow, look at this. How do I get down this path? Wow. Okay.
I know Zachary can look a bit intimidating at first glance, but He's not the kind of person who will do those things.
That's exactly what I told the geezers at the precinct, but they won't listen. Apparently, they caught him in the act. Of course they won't. They're up against Wright's smug face, for fuck's sake. He's the one who has the money.
I'll talk to him.
Immediately, every thought in my head stops and I stare at her. She can't be serious.
You want to talk to Smugface, to Scumbag?
Yes, I'm sure he'll see reason.
She wastes no time. Ignoring her limp, she gathers her things and stands up, ready to leave. I grab for her arm before she can walk past, carefully to avoid hurting her in case there really is an injury. Seems like it at first glance, but you can't be sure until after a careful examination has been made. I suspect some bruising at least. Although minor internal fractures aren't out of the equation, they have a nasty way of staying hidden. But that possible injury is the least of my problems right now, not when she's likely planning a march into the Ermengarde mansion just to talk to the guy. And I have a slew of opinions about that plan. Don't be rash.
Becca, this thing with Zach has already gone down the legal territory. Smugface already filed the case this morning.
Isn't that another reason to talk to him?
It'll be difficult, especially when he's so eager to get to the precinct this morning. Unless we find evidence that'll prove Zach's innocence, there's nothing we can do at the moment.
But by then it's gonna be too late. The ghost gets Zach.
Chief will kick me out of my own precinct if I keep insisting.
Probably tonight. Becca does give it a moment of thought. She still appears like she wants to run headfirst to Anselm, though. But after a minute of silence, thankfully, she concedes.
All right, but promise me you'll get Zachary out of that place.
I will. There's no way in hell I'm leaving him in there. Besides, even if you could reason with Smugface.
Stop calling him like that. And you wonder why he won't listen.
Even if you could reason with Smugface, you're not going anywhere with that limp.
As expected, she tries to hide it. When she squirms from my grasp, it's with enough force she almost stumbles back if the couch has not caught her fall. Even then, she's swift to shrug it off.
It's fine. I just had a little accident.
Little accident. Hard to believe when her other arm's nursing the supposedly fine arm.
Something's happened there, hasn't it?
I don't have to elaborate on the question further. Shortly, she goes very still, and the hand placed over her right arm shifts ever so slightly, its grip on the limb tightening. Not too firm to hurt, but just enough for a gesture of comfort for herself. Warily, she casts a swift glance at me. It strikes me seconds later how utterly familiar her expression is. It's the same one I've seen far too many times in Isabella. Since that day at the movie house, every time her attempts to warn us have been so rudely dismissed.
Let me see.
Rebecca hesitates for a moment. Then, after a minute of consideration, she sighs and reaches for the hem of her sleeve, raises it just enough for me to take a good look at it. Not swollen, but a large portion of her skin starting to turn an ugly shade of purple.
That's going to take a while to heal.
Tell me about it. It was a library cart that hit me. You know, the old metal ones they keep near the history section.
Is it the woman you mentioned? The one you said was sitting in the back of your car?
Yeah, I was in the archives, looking something up. Suddenly, she was just there. Ash, she was using my own students against me. What kind of terrible, terrible person does that? Oh, it makes my blood boil.
You should have just ran. That woman's not something you can hit with a book.
Laugh it up, Ashton. I did. Then the bloody cart came out of nowhere. And you know what? If it weren't for a damn book, I would be dead by now.
Silence descends in the room as the gravity of that one word hit us. To Ashton's relief, Rebecca later called back. Soon she showed up at Samwell looking worse for wear, but upon learning of Zachary's situation, she decided to confront Luke Wright, an idea Ashton begged her to reconsider. Fortunately, before the topic turned grim, Ashton had the sense to drop it. Dead. How many more close calls do we have to go through? How many deaths do we have to witness? How long can we keep this up? We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last like this, losing people important to them, one by one, right in front of them. I've already lost Isabella. Although Zach's not in a better situation, he's alive. I'm not losing him and Rebecca too.
Let's leave these issues for now. There are some things, a lot of things, you need to know.
Fine then. But if this is going to be long, let me just get something for the sprues.
That marks the end of it, at least for the time being. And as soon as Rebecca returns, we get straight down to business, surprisingly easy considering the rigid air in the room. Although there's some tense fumbling for words at first, the whole conversation gains steam once what happened last night at BRC has been put on the table. So all that's different in the scene is that Rebecca and Ashton are investigating together, without Zach, without Isabella.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
If you aren't getting anywhere, maybe you should move on to some other stuff first. Leave it for now. What are we even supposed to be looking at here?
A pattern, something that might hint a way out of this. The guys from BRC have probably also read that dumb paper. They've been working on the mansion before the open house, but Isabella found it during.
Maybe there's something more to this.
What do you mean?
Becca makes a vague gesture at the paper she's brought, then crosses her arm and leans back on her seat to glare at it. The way she's staring at it, you'll think she wants to set the entire stack on fire.
Apparently, there was some stuff that people haven't been telling us.
You mean our own teachers have been lying to us all this time?
Hey, now don't blame us! Blame the bloody books they wrote!
Sighing, I reach for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her and carefully inspect the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city had been founded. Just a typical newsprint, but my eyes do linger at the illustration of the noblewoman's servant.
Any ideas why they're keeping this in the restricted section?
Rebecca merely shrugs at my inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
And damn it, I hope Zach's okay with where they're keeping him. There are guards stationed at the holding cells 24/7, but you can't be sure. This is a ghost we're up against. Before anything happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several hours of sitting. We've been at this for too long. October 31st, Monday. Not necessarily a bad end. The sound of her footsteps reached my ears first, halting my movements. Sure enough, when I glance up, I find her, Rebecca, just as she enters the park grounds, bags of convenience store food in hand. After last night's flight from Samwell, we've elected to stay the night here, unsure if our own homes will still be safe. Normally, we'd be adverse to the idea of spending the night outside like this, but panic and distress has tainted that decision. It's not like we've gotten an ounce of sleep anyway. On the off chance one of us did, it only lasted but a second, or it's a fitful one. But looking at her right now, from afar, it's easy to mistake her for someone who's simply out for an early morning stroll. Her steps are careful and slow as she walks, the expression on her face relaxed, if not unfazed. Her treads fill the atmosphere with a light air, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not knee-deep in a life and death situation the way she acts now. Easy to forget we've lost someone, or one of us is being framed for a crime he likely didn't commit. If anything, it's only her appearance that betrays that mask, slightly disheveled, bags under her eyes, an exhausted curve in her shoulders, and dragging footsteps. But the closer she gets, the more obvious these signs are to the naked eye. She passes an energy drink my way the moment the distance allows it, and hands me the other bag she's holding before seating herself on a bench nearby. The scent of warm food immediately wafts from the bag when I open it, carried further by a passing breeze. Whatever sweet sauce they drizzled over this pork wannabe, it smells heavenly. Hell, even the sorry-looking vegetables seem appetizing. Despite myself, without even checking exactly what this is, hunger swiftly takes over every rational thought. I dig in without waiting for her to start. Although she appears to be of the same mind too, and soon enough she also starts with his. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. Exhausted as we both are, food is something we can't forego. Starvation dulls the thinking, weakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're going to have to take care of ourselves first. It's one thing Zach will likely remind me of. Isabella would never let me hear the end of it either, if she were still here. In a matter of minutes, we're done and dumping the empty cartons on a nearby waste bin. Along with it is the shift in the mood. Back to dismal. Back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I miss these kind of moments between us. We never had the chance, always busy on some project or work. The things we've taken for granted, now we're realizing how valuable they are. With one of us no longer here and the other stuck in a jail cell, the world has an awful sense of humor. While the one we've just had is short-lived, it's another thing I want to look forward to. If we ever free ourselves from this damn curse, I'd like to believe there's a way. For now, we have to focus back on the present. This. Dead people. The letter. The curse. It's not simple to bring these up, but necessary.
Where do we go from here, Ash?
It's an innocent question at best, but she looks to me as if my face has all the answers in the world. I used to think so, back when I was at the top of my game, and I'm still sure of everything. Now, there's just uncertainty sullying whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here, and we've started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue, and stress, we have enough kindling to get a fire burning. The not-so-pleasant kind of fire.
We can't stay here. We'd be sitting ducks if we remain in one place.
All right, so we just keep running like this?
We don't have much of a choice, Becca. Even our own homes aren't safe. Anytime, that woman, that thing might get us. Fuck. A zombie apocalypse would be better than this.
It still doesn't change anything. You just said it. Nowhere's safe. But dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Ash. Not to a stupid chain letter. Someone was too gullible to pick up and show everyone.
Don't you think it's a bit too late to start laying the blame on someone else? It's not even helping at this point.
Who said anything about blaming anyone? Do you really think I don't blame myself for this as well? Isabella warned all of us. In the first place, we wouldn't even be having this problem if you'd only...
What do you want to hear from me then? If what happened last night didn't tell you how bad...
Will you get yourself together?
I don't even know what I'm fucking doing, Rebecca! Zach's in jail. Some scumbag is holding my best friend responsible for a crime he didn't commit. Isabella's never coming back, no matter how many times I apologize to her. You want me to admit it? Fine. This whole mess is tearing me apart. You should have listened. Fuck, I should have listened. But I just stood there, just judging her, and I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do right now.
We both faltered to silence at my words, and an awkward, stifling mood descends between us. I do not mean to shout, to snap at her, to add to that kindling, not in a moment when any time, anywhere that damn goes, might get to one of us. We're both in the same boat, yet here we are, playing the blame game. Little by little we're falling apart, caving into the pressure, to the bleak situation we're trapped in. Did that ghost mean for this to happen? To divide us so she can pick us off one by one right after? Who knows? Anything's possible now if her kind can exist. With the fire burning between us rising as high as it does now, I'm afraid, deathly afraid, that the possibility might come sooner than I can figure all of this out. I can't even believe the next words coming out of my own mouth, that out of everyone, I have to be the one saying these to her. This is more than her forte than mine, keeping the peace, placating everyone, while I unintentionally aggravate people with badly chosen words. Funny how fast the tables have been turned after just one unfortunate incident. How am I even supposed to cope?
I swear, I'll get us out of this mess. But if we want to make it out of this in one piece, we're gonna have to calm down first.
Before my own temper flares, I walk away and slide back into my car. After spending the night at the local park, Ashton and Rebecca tried to figure out what their next step will be. However, coupled with stress and the guilt Ashton had been carrying with him, their conversation quickly went downhill. In the end, Ashton walked out, suggesting that they cool their heads first. If the door slams with more force than needed, I'd like to blame it on the pent-up anger boiling up in me. I'm not even sure what or who I'm angry at. The ghost, at her sudden outburst, or maybe at myself for being this useless. Because despite her not saying anything, I know, goddammit, she's still counting on me. In spite of my failures, of every harsh word I've uttered, or how unbearable I can be as a friend. It's there when the tension after the argument finally breaks, and she follows me and gets in the car. It's in concerned glances she shoots my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It's in her silence, a heavy gift, her unwavering trust. Yet it's one I'm more than willing to carry, even through my own exhaustion, if only to keep her safe. In the city of 68,000 strangers, she's the only one I have left. Though, in all seriousness, a good rest is still our best bet for now. Especially if my assumption's correct, and that's the reason Zach was there yesterday morning, was because of the curse. Something must have happened there for him to see the need to look into it and break inside that place. What if the couple has fallen victim to the curse? It doesn't fall outside the realm of possibility. I've been so biased, not even thinking that they might be in danger as well. But during the open house with Isabella, they might have seen the letter and... fuck.
Stupid, stupid, stupid. Some fucking detective I am.
That's likely the moment when Cooper saw it. If the logic holds, I need to hurry there right away. And if there are answers anywhere, it would be there, it should be there, where all of this fucking mess started. It's not only my life on the line here. There are others. What happens to us, I won't wish on anyone else, no matter how much I loathe them, or how complicated all of this has suddenly become. The letter, the woman, the mansion. And now there are voices lacing venom inside every crevice in my head, murmurs that jeer, scoff, and deride whenever an opportunity presents itself.
It's because you didn't listen.
It's all your fault. Why won't you believe me?
A reminder of what I failed to do and who I failed. So when it all ends with the sound of my phone ringing, a sigh is all that leaves me. I placed the damn thing on low volume last night, but it does nothing to keep it quiet. I don't even know if I want to answer it right now. It has brought me nothing but one bad news after another. Thinking back about it only makes me want to chuck it into the closest trash bin I can find. Not that it'll help things, of course. Another exhale slips past my lips before I pull it out, quickly swiping over the screen without checking the caller ID. After all, the one person who will worry or fret over how awful I might sound right now is here with me. My parents never call around this hour, so chances are it's probably just the chief or Abagail. There's Zach, but he's in a position where contacting me is impossible, placed in jail by some scumbag for a crime he likely didn't commit. No use pretending what I'm not when it's anything but.
Inspector Frey speaking.
Oh no.
Good morning, sir. Sorry to bother you this early.
What is this about?
It's about your friend, you know? The guy I called you about yesterday, the one they brought in the night before. Zachary Steele.
Oh no, they found him dead, didn't they? His hesitant note does nothing to diminish the lump that has suddenly lodged itself at the base of my throat. What are the chances? What are the chances that something went wrong while I'm not looking, while I'm out here brooding of all things?
How is he? Is he doing okay?
We actually have a problem, Detective Inspector.
Hasty assumptions aren't a usual fare in my book, but that shouldn't change right now. The precinct is secure. It's supposed to be. They have guards manning the station 24/7. If anything happens, all Zach has to do is shout and someone will be there for him. Yeah, well, that wasn't the case. They told him to shut up because they were sleeping. Even if it's a phantom going after him, he should be safe there. He should have been. Yet none of these reassurances will allay my suspicions, and whatever little thread of hope I'm hanging onto frays slowly as each second of silence passes by. An expectation so weak, faint, I might as well just let it go and prepare myself for the worst. It's a feeble attempt at optimism I will never get used to. This is out of my depth. This isn't my forte. Zach's, maybe. Rebecca's too. Never mine. Hell, this is the kind of mood Isabella has always unknowingly brought with her. What her eyes often conveyed, what I've often found myself searching in her whenever I look to them. But no matter how many times I repeat any words of comfort or calming images inside my head, the hollow chill at the base of my stomach refuses to ease. Even my voice shakes when I urge Officer Renz to speak again, weak and unsteady. The only thing keeping me from stumbling when I abruptly stand is the counter's solid support beside me, the flat of my hand braced against it for leverage.
Officer Renz. Renz, right? What happened? You're supposed to keep an eye on him, yeah? It's protocol.
Your friend, sir, he's... I think it'd be better if you just saw it yourself, sir. This isn't something you should be hearing over the phone.
Oh my god, we're gonna go see him?
Chief Inspector Lee wants you to report in as well. It's about the case Luke Wright filed yesterday and...
The rest never registers. Rather, my brain refuses to acknowledge any of it, not even the possibility that this might be a terrible joke. All I can think of is the suffocating dread and the piercing noise, white and deafening, ringing in my ears despite the bar's morning hush. There's only Zach. Only the whole expanse of Luxborn, separating me from the one person I still believe safe from this whole fucked up situation we found ourselves in, along with the voices, vile ones, whispers that taunt, jeer, and mock, each vague utterance growing relentless as I make my way out of the bar without another word to G and slide back into my car. Whoa, so Rebecca doesn't even confess to us? Driving off with my body on autopilot, mind in a daze and afraid. Or did he just leave the bar and he's gonna come back? Utterly afraid that I have lost someone in my life again. The whole precinct is in an uproar. Oh my god. A phone call interrupted Ashton's conversation with G. Although the officer calling him had only given vague details, gut feeling told him that something had gone wrong at the mere mention of Zachary. The detective hurried to the precinct, expecting the worst. Officers move in and out from the main work hall with rapid steps. Phones blare loudly from the comms room, and calls are being made from the dispatch area. The rest who has been left standing watch the whole commotion with a nervous energy. From further back, the chief's voice booms above the uproar. I'm not even shocked. He may appear like the bumbling fool on first glance, but he has kept the city safe for years. For something to happen in his jurisdiction, inside his own precinct, right under his nose, he has the right to be royally pissed.
What do you mean you don't know? Don't give me that shite, Sergeant! How can one person, slip past you?
Is he gone?
You can't even keep an eye on one man!
His statement gives me pause. Am I wrong? Did Zach escape somehow? I'm not condoning it, neither do I believe Zach's capable of doing, let alone thinking of it, but if it's what happened, I'll be equally as cross as the chief. This won't help his case, this will only complicate things with Wright and put the both of us in a tight spot. I won't be able to help him once red tape prevents me from doing so. Yet a hint of relief still washes over me as I walk closer to my boss, mentally preparing myself for whatever reprimand he's about to dish out.
What's happening, Chief?
Except, he merely glances at me with an inscrutable expression. Although, if I'm going to read deeper into it, I'll say it's the closest expression he can get to shooting me a pitying look. For the first time in my years in the force, I find myself wishing to hear a reprimand from him. Whatever that stare means, it can't be good. Coupled with Officer Renz' tone this morning, it does nothing to calm the uneasy feeling in me. Fuck, boss even seems relieved to see me. After the last few exchanges we've had these past 2 weeks, you'll think the man doesn't want to see me right now.
About time you got in here.
I got caught up in something. Sorry, Chief. What's going on? Is there a problem with Zach?
He hesitates for a second before his frown eases with a long, dragged-out exhale.
I'm not sure if you can call this a problem, Frey, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Follow me. And you, I want your full report about this by the end of the day. It better be good or you are kissing that badge goodbye.
The officer he's addressing, the sergeant, a man in his late 20s to 30s, who transferred here last year, shrinks back in his chair. I don't quite remember his name. I've only seen him quite a number of times since I'm not often out of the precinct. But if my memory serves me right, he's the guy currently assigned a late night shift, at least until this month ends. Depending on how bad this is, he'll either be given a verbal warning, a suspension, or dismissal. It's not a position I envy him for being in right now. Although there's not really much time left to feel sorry for him either. As soon as Chief's done roasting the other officers behind the guy, he gestures for me to follow, straight towards the precinct's holding cells. And it's if a switch has been turned off, the moment he steps away from the small crowd, the entire main lobby goes silent. For one reason or another, it feels like everyone's simply waiting for the metaphorical hammer to fall. Even their stares, before we turn to the adjacent hallway, exude the same pitying vibe as the Chief's. All of which I might have easily ignored any other day. People here can be a bunch of gossip mongers. It's only the significant glance the Chief throws my way before pushing the door open that stops me. Not that there's even a need to mull over it, because the moment he swings it open, it strikes me. A sharp, dry, metallic scent. I've already grown familiar of it over the years. It's another one of those things you'll have to get used to once they start handing you the homicide cases. Now, just a whiff of it tells enough for me to gauge the severity of the situation. This isn't the festering smell you get when someone in the room has a flesh wound. It lingers far too much in the air, hangs far too heavily, even where I stand. No. This is what you get when someone has spilled blood all over the room. This is what you get when there's a large pool of it. This is what you get when no one bothers with cleanup for a few hours because forensic work isn't done yet. This is what you get when there's most certainly a dead body somewhere. Where is he? I don't want to think of the who yet. There's simply too many possibilities. Too many variables accounted for here to form a single conclusion. However, when the Chief of Luxbourne Police refuses to provide answers, a chill easily fills every nerve in my body. Almost in a trance, I follow after him without asking anything or saying another word. For the first time in years, I feel like a damn rookie again. Fresh out of training, newly instated, and still in my first homicide case, except I didn't balk at the idea of seeing a dead body then. Now, as light flashes fleetingly from the far end of the hall, while CSI documents the scene and the forensics teams gather evidence, the only thing my instinct tells me is to run. As far from here as possible, and if I don't have 10 years of detective work under my belt. It echoes inside my head like a mantra.
It's because you didn't listen. It's all your fault. Why won't you believe me?
Over and over and over, rising and ebbing. A tidal wave of thoughts and murmurs surging and crashing against my ear, more deafening than the drum of my heartbeats and shallow gasps. Turning and heaving, till the cell finally comes into view, and I am afforded a clearer look of what's inside. Oh my god. Achievement unlocked. Death knell. Oh my god, Zach. Oh my god. She did take his eyes. She like clawed them out of his face. Oh my god. Dude, why are they so brutal? The whole world stands still. In one single moment, every noise, every smell, every person in the room all ceases to matter the second my eyes land on his prone form. There's only red. 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 Blood everywhere, on the floor, where a copious amount of it is pooled, on the walls, smeared on every crack and tile his hands can reach, on his face and shoulders, dripping from every gash and tear, flowing from the hollow gap where his eyes should have been.
A custodial officer found him when they brought him breakfast. It was too late. He was already dead by that time. Some 3 to 4 hours, according to the blokes from forensics.
There had been a struggle, based alone on the smear pattern left on the bars and floor, but only so much as this small cell will allow him. I can already imagine how it went down. He was likely left with no other choice, cornered like an animal at the mercy of his killer. This is so horrible, like, I would never want this to happen to Zach. In this cell, there would have been no escape. The only thing he would have been able to do is shout for help. Perhaps the same plea written on floor closest to him, like the one I've seen in Isabella's room that night. Help me. Help me. Help me. Help that he didn't even get. And it calls for a whole lot of questions, not the hows. Logic has already flown out the window from the start. She has the means to get to us, get to all of us, bars and walls notwithstanding. The whys, though.
No one heard him? Not even one from the guys on duty last night?
Because Zach's not an idiot, he would have asked for help. He would have yelled.
Oh, one of them did, but thought nothing of it.
Then why didn't they do anything? He's just a room away!
They must have assumed your friend's just asking for attention. Henry wasn't clear on the details when I questioned him about it. You've been serving in this precinct for more than a decade, though. You should be aware by now how rowdy the folks we detain here can become. But that's not the only problem we have here. Someone got in and out of this place without anyone noticing. Even the surveillance footage is a bust. Tech's going over it now, but I don't think we'll get anything from it. The media will have a field day when they learn of this fray. Keep it mum for now. I'll let you know because he's your... well, you deserve to know. The poor bloke's your friend, after all. I just don't want the commissioner hearing of this before I can tell him anything. Or at least, until we've figured out how the butcher got in.
You think this is an inside job?
What else can it be? It's either that or we have a damn good criminal mastermind walking this city.
Really, I want to say something. I want to tell him that this isn't what he's thinking. That all this time, the Ansem Butcher never existed. This is a curse the people of the city has been laughing up for centuries. The way things are going, we'll simply find ourselves at a dead end. Chances are, they'll just have to find an innocent chap to blame for everything, like what Wright did to Zach. A scapegoat for things they can't explain. But how am I supposed to tell anyone, let alone get them to believe my words? I'll sound like an idiot. They'll likely brush me off the same way I've done with Isabella's warnings. In the end, clenching my fists at my sides and gritting my teeth is all I'm able to do. Zach's lifeless face stares back at me, an accusation in them, sharp and searing. An expression that etches itself deep within my mind once the first officer waves us both out of the room. Another ghastly image I will never be able to forget. Just like Isabella's mangled body in her room. Another memory. It will probably haunt me until my last dying breath. Another regret. Chief dismisses me barely an hour later, sending me off with nothing but a light pat and another sorry expression. I'm not entirely sure if that's supposed to be reassuring. There's plenty more to do, a lot of people to call and tell, and all of it falls on me. No matter how awful the news I bring will be, it'll be better if this comes from a person his family and friends know. Still, my body refuses any notion of movement. The thought of telling Rebecca about this, it will upset her. I don't even want to imagine what his grandparents will say. They're good, kind, warm-hearted people who has given me another family without even me asking for it. They welcomed me, invited me every time, easily reminded me of what having a whole home feels like. I thought I've already forgotten it. Zach's older sister will definitely show up in my apartment though, ring my doorbell and punch me as soon as I open the door, just like the last time. She's right. I'm the kind of person who brings nothing but trouble. She's known all along that Zach should have stopped hanging out with me, warned him several times. Zach has often laughed her concerns off. I used to think it's because he enjoys the friendship as much as I do, despite a huge part of it going unspoken between us throughout the years. Now he's dead. Another person brutally taken from me. I thought I had more time. I thought he'd be safe. I acted too late. And in the deafening silence of my car, the only thing I'm able to do is close my eyes, rest my forehead against the cold surface of the steering wheel and scream. Scream until my throat bleeds raw. Oh my God, the deaths are so hard. Oh. The precinct was in an uproar when Ashton arrived. After giving a few stern words to one of the junior officers, LPD's chief inspector quietly led him to where the holding cells were, and there, at the end of the hall, scream until my lungs burn. Scream until all that remains are the guilt and the tears. The sun hangs lower when I drive back to the pub and drag myself inside, still too unsure how to break the news. With the kind of danger we're in, and after what happened to Zach, this swiftly puts me on the edge, even before I can fully process and analyze the scene in front of me.
Looks like someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed while you were out.
So much is at stake. I can't let this curse take another one, if such a thing even makes sense when dealing with the supernatural. Tonight, by any means, I need to go back to that accursed place. Whether she agrees with this plan is inconsequential. With Zach and Isabella gone, her well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just about to drag her in there with me. My apprehension must have been quite obvious in my face. In a sudden motion, Rebecca reaches out and taps my arm. What else then? Offer a vague answer.
I need to head off somewhere tonight.
I do intend to tell G before leaving tonight. He has to know if he's going to be keeping an eye on her for me. One person is already enough, however. Hell, simply letting someone in on the plan makes me iffy. Broadening that circle and revealing too much would just cause another pointless concern. I don't even want to think what she'll say the second she finds out I'm doing exactly as I told her not to. And then a moment's pause. A hesitation while I try to choose the words to use, while I figure out how to break it to her. Because despite having never grown closer with Zach, unlike with Isabella, he is also a friend to her. He is a loss all the same for both of us.
Because Zach won't be with us anymore.
So this is the line that when I was playing my first playthrough through this game and I was alone with Isabella and Ashton said this to her. So maybe this was for Rebecca in the scene when Zach actually passed away. The words won't form and my throat closes up. But I don't need to look at her to know how she's taking this news. There's a sorrow in her, palpable enough, as soon as the meaning of what I've said sinks in. A pain I can't even hope to understand, one that we'll both deal with in our own ways. In the end, I can only urge her to carry on.
You're good with that kind of stuff.
You don't need to remind me. I can take care of myself well enough.
A grimace is on her face, but I know she'll do it, even without me asking for it. She cares, more than anyone, more than what her fiery temper expresses. And it eases something in me. Sure enough, after a stretch of silence, she eventually nods. She does not entirely agree with this. It's in the distant look on her face, but she's willing to trust me on this. For now, that's enough. November 1st, Tuesday, likely because of what Zach did. A guard is now stationed at every possible point of entry. The main entryway, the back door leading to the kitchens. Or worse, Hannah Wright. Zach wasn't even able to put up a fight. If I get caught, no one else will be able to fix this.
What about Zach? Wrongfully accused. You couldn't even get him out.
Tell me, what did you do with the madam?
What did I do with the madam? I have no idea what he's talking about. Did something happen to Hannah Wright?
Let go, you asshole.
Now answer my question. What did you do with the madam?
The pain rings and resonates through my already sore body. Still, I manage to ride it out and spit out a mutinous. In one corner, Rebecca watches, almost as surprised to see me. Relieved as I am that she has had the sense not to venture deeper into the mansion, I can't help but roll my eyes at her, although she preempts me with a reprimand of her own.
Did you really think you could hide this from me?
I had to, Becca.
You know, if I didn't ask a G, I wouldn't even have any idea. I know I said I won't stop you, but I had no idea this was where you planned on going.
So the first thing you did is go straight here too.
What do you think?
How did you even get in here?
We both exchange a look, one that I absolutely don't like.
Someone was screaming, Ash. It led me here.
Without warning, the door behind me slams shut.
We need to get out of here.
Screw right. I need to get her out of here. Lucky we're in the kitchen and we have two ways out, the back door and the cellar offers.
She will eventually die because of you.
Bravely, Rebecca hesitates, mid-climb, and looks back at me, raising an eyebrow, asking for some sort of confirmation from me.
Go ahead. I'll watch your back.
Surprisingly, she follows without any protest, not that there's any need to. Sometime after entering this room, the whole place is calmed down. No wails, no whispers, just a silence too deafening. But I am not letting my guard down until she's on the other side of this nightmare safe. For all I know, this may just be the calm before another storm. Without further incident, however, Rebecca makes it to the other side and I'm following after her. However odd this hush is, I turn my back from it and climb up. It's a tight fit, but I manage to squeeze myself in. The unease remains though. Maybe it's the adrenaline still coursing through me, or how easy everything has been after living through that nightmare, fleeting as it is. Okay, so all that's different in the scene is just, it's Rebecca and Ashton and Luke. So I'm gonna skip it. Maybe I should eliminate the immediate danger first and disarm him, beg him to listen. My life's not the only one at risk here, however.
This is the third time this week, and I'm really getting weary of this little game.
Usually it's the ghost woman. At the top of the staircase, Hannah Wright stands there, pale as death and expression eerily calm. I can't help but think there's something wrong. My gaze darts around, wary of her, but soon enough, I realize what's wrong when she speaks. Achievement unlocked, death smile upon you. She's wrong.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. What do you think you're doing out here this late?
Outside, another streak of lightning flashes and a clap of thunder ripples across the sky. Luke. Another long and exhausting day at work, and I still have much to do. Sometimes I wonder why I still bother. I can surely afford to retire, leave the business to trusted colleagues. Even if they make enough to only break even, I have enough money to last us a lifetime or 3. I could send 7 children to college if I had any, not that I plan to. But the problem is obvious, isn't it? I don't trust any of the lot. It has to be me because they might get it wrong. I don't want to retire and suddenly wake up one day only to find that everything has gone down the shitter. Maybe I should hire McCullough as a personal assistant. She seems capable and trustworthy enough. It's hard to find someone who isn't trying to butter me up and trying to curry favor with me. She knows how to keep professional too, knowing not to mix personal matters with business. An admirable trait, considering how utterly emotional people can be nowadays.
Christ, I'm knackered. Who do I have to kill to have fewer problems around here?
I'm not really allowed to complain. I chose this path. But that doesn't stop me from doing so as I throw my shoes off and let them land wherever they please. Petty, maybe, but there's a certain joy that comes with stepping on the carpeted staircase with nothing but my socks on. I'll accept no distractions. I can call up Stroken for a sandwich, but that's probably it. I've got a suitcase filled with contracts to check over and sign before I can retire for the night. I'm also waiting for a call from Suarez for any new updates regarding the IT leaks, a real cause for concern. It's the reason there has been investigations on me. Had it been a new thing, I would have let it run its course. But it's been going on for far too long, near 3 years, for me to just take on a passive role in the affair. I've only kept my head this far because I've managed to mitigate most of the damage with several favors, and some grand puppeteer to ensure the high-profile law enforcement and government officials keep me out of trouble. But who knows how long it can stay that way? Powers are shifting, and the current can be unpredictable. This whole exit business is already shaking things up and upsetting the balance. It's only with great care that I stay where I am, but the smallest of efforts can unravel all that I've done. It certainly won't help if I'm being accused of things, whether I'm guilty of them or not, because some computer chump thinks he can play a game with me. And well, shit, it'll be a miracle if I get to sleep tonight, though that is hardly surprising news. But before I can even take a step into the study, a voice from the bedroom calls out to me.
Luke, darling, you're finally home. Why don't you be a dear and come in here?
And I hesitate for a moment. I do have work to be done, but I suppose greeting my wife as I get home is only proper. I've already been gone for most of the week, unless I needed to be here for work on the house. So with a sigh, I head towards the bedroom. Whoa, Hannah, what are you doing, girl? The feeling that came to me as I enter the room are definitely mixed. For one, I am somewhat floored by the sight that greets me. Then there is confusion. Exasperation is strangely there as well. And as to be expected, there is desire. She is a divine goddess, or rather, she is a horrible temptress. What man wouldn't be attracted by that? I guess they could be a sausage jockey. But that is beside the point, and it is not relevant to the situation I found myself in right now. This is nice and all, but why does she have to go and do this now of all nights?
My love, the bed is awfully cold without you.
Achievement unlocked, slutty Hannah. The matter of the fact is, I've never seen Hannah all primmed up like this since our first year of marriage. There must be something special to bring on such an act. Our wedding anniversary has already passed, so that can't be it. Hannah's birthday is in April and mine is in August, so it can't be any of those either. So what in the bloody blazes brought this on? Is Hannah drunk?
Why don't you just, take a rest? I'll be busy all night.
Is that answer too cold? I don't mean it to be. She certainly doesn't look amused.
Come on over and stop being a boring old man. Work can wait.
Maybe I can entertain her just for a while. It is a tempting idea. But no, I'll never get any work done that way. I'm surprised Luke is being like, I don't really want to do this right now. And imagine how horrible it would be to get a call from Suarez in the middle of a shag. That would certainly kill the mood and piss me off more than anything. It'll be worse if Kylie steals the phone from him, as a little ankle biter is prone to do unless your father is locked in a room. Just thinking about the possibility is weird and turns me off from even trying anything.
I'm afraid it can't, Buttercup. But hey, it's Sunday tomorrow. We can go out for dinner right after. Somewhere nice like that Italian restaurant you wanted to try out?
Why don't we skip dinner tomorrow and eat out tonight?
Whoa there, why don't we slow down? Looks like someone is in the mood, but hey, there's a time and place for everything.
I grew up in a house where sex was a constant thing. It's just a thing that the body does, more or less. Sometimes it comes with social implications, supposedly, with paper-thin walls, and a mother with that horrid job of hers made me think that way. But I learned later on that it isn't the case for everybody. Suffice to say, this is really odd, for her at least. I am quite sure she never grew up in a sexually promiscuous home like I did. She grew up with a well-to-do, normal and decent family. And in the 7 years we've been married, she's never acted this aggressive about sex. We do it when the mood comes to that, but never like this. And when I'm in the mood and she isn't, that's about the time I go around town to have my back scratched. Gosh. I've got nothing to be guilty of, I believe, as long as it's just lust and not love. That's a good way to explain it, I guess. I'm just really confused and trying to come to grips with reality as it is presented to me.
Well, this is the place, but now is not a good time, darling. Like I said, I have plenty of important work to be done. Any other night, this would be great. Excellent, splendid. But not right now, okay?
I suppose if that's what you want, I can have my prince another time.
A chill runs up my spine as she calls me that again. My prince. Is she going through some midlife crisis? I know she's not the sort to play pretend with that sort of thing. Now that I think about it, this is probably some dream. Perhaps I've been exposed to something? Jesus, I've gone and fucked my own brain over. That can't be the only explanation, or at least the only explanation my mind wants to accept right now. But if it were, I would probably accept her offer, no? But on the off chance it isn't, I shouldn't. Either choice fucks someone over, quite literally at that.
Yes, that's right. Another time. So if you could put your dress back on. It's really chilly right now, isn't it?
Why is he laughing like that? I don't know, I'd feel a little, I don't know, rejected, I guess, if I was Hannah, but I don't know, is this the possessed Hannah? I think it is.
You don't want to catch a cold if we're going out tomorrow.
Thankfully, she's done as she's told, which puts the strange episode to an abrupt end. Unfortunately, she had to put her dress back on so painfully and seductively slow. I suspect she knows the things she does to me. As much as I'd like to have the engine running, there are things to be done to make sure we can keep on enjoying a glamorous life as we do now.
I'm starting to think you don't find me beautiful anymore.
This is the possessed Hannah. Oh my god.
Is that what brought this on, then? You are an angel, a goddess, Hannah. Of all the flowers in this garden, you are by far the most beautiful and rarest of them all. Every bloke would want to be with you, and every lady would want to be you. I'm sure it goes the other way around, too. I'm lucky to have you, and I don't know how you put up with the likes of me. I'm really sorry, darling, but it really isn't a good time.
It does hurt me to see her upset because of something I've done or said. It always does. One can't always get his or her way, though. At least, society would like you to believe in order to soften the blow of disappointment. And I'll have to take their side on that. Pulling her in for a hug and a peck of the cheek, I'm quick to pull away before I change my mind and make it more than that. I can at least give her those.
Chin up and smile. You'll get wrinkles frowning like that. And beauty sleep helps.
Of course, my prince. I suppose I can do with the sleep.
The smile that lights up on her face is enough to make me forget about the oddity that has just transpired. I still don't understand this whole prince thing, though I'll let it slide for now. Seeing her with her golden locks and that silver dress, it almost makes her queenly, with due respect to her majesty, of course. Despite that, there is just something off.
Hana, before I go, what happened to your necklace? The blue diamond.
The fact that she seems confused feels off.
Whatever do you mean?
Hon, I want to see where that led us on the branching tree from her getting possessed. Whoa. I'm on this path now? Whoa. Hopefully this will unlock a lot more, because I only finished still 46% of Ashton's chapter, which all these are in the 80s now besides Rebecca. So, I don't know. I gotta work at those.
Oh, that old thing. It's somewhere in the vanity drawer, I think.
And to be so aloof about it.
What? But wasn't that from your father?
It was a priceless heirloom, to be exact, handed down from one generation of Evans to the next, whether it be to a wife or a daughter of an Evans. I know that Hannah treasures it so, especially after it was given to her with her own mother's passing. Then, what is with that ugly thing dangling around her neck? It looks more like a choking hazard than anything.
It was, of course it was. I just thought a change would be nice.
I don't think I've ever seen her wear anything else in its place. A change it is, but not an entirely welcome one at that.
I see. I suppose that makes sense. Well, not that it matters, but I like the old necklace better. At the very least, we can have it cleaned and polished while you're not wearing it. Remind me to have that done in the morning.
Whatever you wish, my prince.
Right. You have a good night then, Buttercup.
Right. With a shake of my head, I don't waste any more time than I've done already. Heavy suitcase in hand, I head straight into the study and dive right into the contracts. There's a whole stack of them too, mostly to do with property management. Nonetheless, careful work needs to be put into them, as with everything else. My attorneys have already checked them over, but I'd like to be precise. I'm not going to sign if there's even a single line I do not like. It's a long way into the night when a coldness envelops the room. I suspect at first that it's merely just the usual chill, but the heaters have been turned on as the strange sunny weather that has been gracing us as of late has come to an end. The door is barely open just by a crack, though I shut it in case that might help. Satisfied, though not as much as I would have liked, the room still feels freezing. I make my way back to the mess of documents waiting for me at the table. Just a few more and I can get that well-deserved rest, get out of this place and dive into the warm comforts of my bed. Then maybe, if Hannah's still up for it, well, it's more than enough motivation. Parking my rear back on the chair, I begin my work with the last of the blasted papers, more than ready to be done with everything and turn in for the night. Only for another chill to startle me to a stop. And that's when I feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. Eyes boring at the back of my head, a brush of air just at the nape, and when I glance back... She's right there! She's right there! She's right there! She's staring at us in the fucking picture, dude. Reflected in the lone portrait in the room, someone stands behind me. Just by the study door I closed moments ago, though I did not hear it open. Perhaps it is Hannah trying to be sneaky, or Shrokin being a bell end of a spook as usual.
Do I really have to ask people to knock before they enter? Seriously now, this is anarchy, and I'll have you know...
I turn. but there's nothing.
Huh. Must have been a trick of the light. It is getting late, and I should really go to bed myself. Just have to finish looking over a few more contracts, and...
Yes, just finish signing these, and I can have some rest. Maybe arrange for a day off in the morning. Sighing, I steel myself for a long night of dry paperwork. Luke returned home exhausted from work, only to be greeted by a very clingy Hannah. Although her advances were appreciated, this abrupt change in her unnerved Luke. The man gently let her down before quickly retreating to his study. Late in the night, however... Still, the feeling that I'm being watched stays with me all through the night. October 30th, Sunday. He worked all through the night, and with the sun rising comes another disturbance. Both too loud and too sharp for my tastes, and I have very fine tastes. When the piercing ring of a doorbell reaches even the study, I'm very much inclined to think the person who built this place lacks any sense of it. Perhaps the only good thing in this is that the ruckus has chased away the need and guilt from last night's commotion, if only temporarily. Still, it's a bloody, annoying distraction. I can tell already what is going to be a long day. It hasn't even started. Before the racket even lasts another minute, I'm peeling myself off the chair and heading straight for the main door. There will be a murder today if this doesn't let up. How quaint. It seems everything in this blasted universe is intent on getting in my nerves as of late.
Gordon Bennett! Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour!
In the first place, I shouldn't be the only one doing this. This is why I hired a valet, for fuck's sake.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
I'll be honest, if only for today. With the mansion this quiet at this hour of the morning, it's easy to believe those little ghost stories might be real. But the only horror here is how odd my own wife has been acting as of late. There's no place for fear when another set of problems already burns that fuel. So I wait for another second. When no butler still answers my call, I simply yank the doors open myself, perhaps with more force than needed. Oh, Zach, it's so good to see you with your eyeballs. Oh my god, that was so horrifying. And maybe it should be appropriately there, considering the person on the other side, and the hour he dared appeared on my doorstep. Even someone with half a brain knows not to disturb anyone this early. Brief confusion quickly gives way to anger, and before the bloody photographer can even get a word in, I'm hurling venom at him. It's less than he deserves, really. Hannah will disapprove, scold me for treating the man with such disrespect, if she hears me right now. She seems fond of him, after all, treats him like a friend she's known for years. But she's not here, isn't she? What she doesn't know...
You! Again! It's bloody 6 in the morning! What the hell is it now?
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time! Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't!
This is still my home. My rules also apply to this place as much as Hannah's do. As simple as that.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
It just so happens it's also a person I will never take a liking to. No need for remorse.
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
He continues shouting even as I slam the door in his face. Some nonsense about the news lately, though I don't understand most of it. However, with the closed doors muffling the better part of it, and with no ears to listen, his tirade doesn't last too long. Eventually, he leaves and silence once again fills the room as it should. In hindsight, maybe I should also call for psychiatric services. He certainly sounds mental just screaming like that. A suspicious man like him left roaming the immediate grounds? Nothing good can come of it. But if his presence will indeed bring a problem, a sign of bad things to come, I'll probably know soon enough. Worst comes to worst, Shrokin will take care of it if need be. It's what I'm paying him for. In the meantime, I need rest, even for just a few hours. My lovely wife still fast asleep when I finally join her in our bed. She feels a tad bit warm to the touch too, but it's nothing to worry about, I hope. As odd as she has been acting lately, her company's nice after spending long, grueling hours going through business documents. Then again, it's not like I'd be losing out much if I take a break or two. In fact, all I have to do is say the word, and Vance General Electronics stocks are going to go down. That's the least I can do after Rochelle's Vance's outburst during the party. I highly doubt she'll be Rochelle Lee for long, not if Harvey has any sense in him. So with a sigh, I drift off, setting aside my problems, if only for a few hours. Not long into it, though, perhaps only a few minutes in my mind, a knock interrupts my attempt at getting some rest. Checking the time on my phone, however, shows that it's just 8:30. Still too tired, but what can I do about it? Getting up is an entirely different problem on its own. Waking up after you only get a few hours of sleep in has my body stiff and sore and my mind feeling lethargic. A part of me wants to go back and doze off again, an alien feeling to me. But it's already far too late for my taste, and on the second round of knocks, I reluctantly peel myself off the bed and answer the door, only to be greeted by none other than Shokin and his grumpy face. The sight of it is enough to dampen my own irritation, and I can only follow when he gestures towards the hallway. I have questions as to why he would bother me at this hour in the morning, but going by the grim, or rather grimmer than usual air about him, it must be something serious. The man stands there as relaxed and cool as can be, but his eyes hold an intensity that promises nothing but trouble.
I do hope I wasn't interrupting anything.
Well, I did want to sleep, but apparently the world conspires against me.
What do you want?
If you wish to sleep so badly, feel free to tuck yourself back in bed. I thought you ought to know that we've had an intruder.
Intruder? Oh, Zach. And sue me if that doesn't pique my curiosity. Intruders, thieves who would dare set foot into my house and try to rob me, were rare. If they had any form of experience, they'd have an idea not to mess with the Wrights, no matter how tempting our riches may be. But that did not mean attempted robberies did not happen. What was strange about this one is the fact that Shokin thought it was important to bring to my attention. Oftentimes they deal with pests because I wouldn't really care how they take care of it, so...
This needs my attention, why? Are they any danger?
Actually, I think I'll let you be the judge of that. He's down in the parlor. Come on.
I glance at the bedroom door, hoping to goodness that Hannah will remain fast asleep before following him downstairs, through the foyer, and into the parlor where a familiar man sits unconscious, tied up to one of the chairs.
I thought I heard something scurrying around. As it turns out, it's a giant rat, and one that had pretended to be a harmless mouse, too.
It's that man, the one who called himself a friend of Hannah's. Whoa. After working on business papers overnight, Luke hoped to get some rest the entire day, only for his plans to be derailed when his butler called his attention to a problem in the foyer. I'm not sure if I should be surprised or not to think he would be caught trying to, no doubt, rob me blind. It's a bit disappointing. I thought I'd be proven wrong in my assumptions. He is a gollywog after all, but the man had seemed the serene, if nervous sort when I met him. He had seemed an honest, good-natured man through his friendliness with my wife irked me to no end.
And he's still alive, isn't he?
It's hard to tell, with the way his body is too still, breathes too light. But it is there, the subtle rise and fall of his chest. Its presence lets me breathe a sigh of relief. A death caused by one of my men is normal, to be expected, really. Jesus! A dead body I can deal with. It'll just be one of the many I've seen. Like, I'm wondering, like, how many people has Luke or Johannes killed? Like, is that what they really do behind the scenes here? But if one turns up while the missus is at home, I'm not too thrilled with the idea.
I saw no reason to do more than incapacitate him. So yes, the man is still alive. Of course, that can be remedied if you wish.
No, this is fine. He wasn't trying to kill us, was he?
If he was wholly unprepared. But I do not think he had such nefarious purposes. He is a big man, but he seems too soft to be a hired killer. A common trespasser or petty thief, maybe. Certainly nothing more.
If a petty thief dares to try anything against me, people are forgetting their place. He's to be made an example of. A guy slacks off for once, and everyone thinks they can get away with taking advantage. His thieving ways is going to be his one-way ticket behind bars. It's only as my anger washes away that I realize that the sun is starting to rise, off into the horizon, and I can only feel annoyance at myself for missing another night of sleep.
Call the police then. Let them round him up and bring me some bloody coffee while you're at it.
Thankfully, he leaves me to my own simmering as I take one of the free seats, and while waiting for my drink, I find myself staring at this man. And as it always does when I'm in such a situation, the power I wield hits me like an unnatural high. It's something else when I can hold a man's life in my hand without resorting to murder. A person is as good as incarcerated the moment I send them Harvey's way. And this makes me wonder if I can make luxury living grovel, beg for my forgiveness because of the crime committed against me by one of their staff. So he would have been completely ruined probably if he hadn't have died. Deep in my thoughts, stuck in this power trip that rushes through me, I barely notice we have company until Shrokin puts a cup of coffee in my hand.
Officer Carl and his colleague are here to collect. They'll want your statement.
And as he says, there are 2 officers by the door. Though I can't even bother to spare them the slightest of glance before looking back at the unconscious Galaway.
If they need my statement, I'll give it to their chief. I'm due a visit to a good friend anyway.
After my coffee and a bit of breakfast, of course. Once I'm done breaking my fast and after a cool shower, I call for Shrokin to drive me to the police station so I can give my statement. Through it all, Hannah still slumbers. The way she remains undisturbed, even with the commotion, you'll think she has somehow contracted a sickness of some sort overnight. And true enough, the moment the back of my hand touches her forehead, she's burning up. It's unfortunate there's no time to worry about this, as much as I want to care for her. There's urgent business demanding my attention elsewhere, and with the rest of the staff away, and, well, our marriage may have gone through a rough patch recently, but I still do feel as if I'm neglecting her like this. It doesn't help that the only thing I can do now is to place a cloth dipped in warm water on her forehead and leave a bottle of medicine on her bedside. And instruct Shrokin to schedule an immediate appointment to her physician. I just hope that this trip to the city won't take too much of my time, or further ruin my mood. The ride to the precinct is a quiet affair. I'm in no mood for idle chatter with what little sleep I've had. Not everything is smooth sailing, however, as soon as I arrive at the precinct either. But as they say, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. It would be more suspicious if everything had gone out without ruckus. And it would be more boring too, because who doesn't love a good fight and a bit of drama? There's nothing quite like beating your opponent down and making them learn who's the boss. If life just slumped over, there would be no point of even trying, but I'd be much happier if nosy detectives stopped being, well, nosy. That boy, Feathers, just riles me right up, with the way he looks at me, as if he's better than me. I saw it in his eyes, the righteous fury, and the belief that he's some saintly good guy, and I'm the villain that he needs to take down. I have no doubts that he was a word away from trying to assault my person, and I wish he had, if only so that I would have proper legal grounds to get him in a whole lot of trouble. I so hate men like him. I came out looking the civil gentleman between the two of us at the very least, but it does no wonders for my mood, and I have to retreat to Harvey's office to cool myself down. Just needing to do legwork to bring myself to this precinct always does sour the day for me. It always means I have to fix something. Always annoying. So here I am, with a bored glance at the view of the place. Johannes stands outside like a good guard dog and makes sure no one enters unannounced.
I am so sorry about what happened out there, mate. But you know how it is with these officers. All testosterone and ranking.
Well, you need to learn how to keep your men in line better, mate. But I didn't come here to talk about these hot-headed daft villains. They could be dead from the neck up for all I care.
He has the propensity to forget one tiny detail. I own him. I want to seethe in rage, remind him who exactly the boss here is. I very well can, thanks to the wonders of soundproofing. But the stress and nervous expression on his face stops me from giving him a tongue lashing. It would really do me no good to be at odds with me when he does prove to be a very useful ally from time to time. So I listen when he speaks, focusing on the smell of coffee and cigarettes that fill the room in order to curb my tongue. For now. But boy, when you let a man like Harvey Lee speak, he speaks a lot.
Look, all I'm asking is that you be a bit patient with them. You do realize a good chunk of them they aren't with you, so to speak. Bunch of kids who think the police are superheroes or some cock and bull. They don't know how things work around here. Especially that Frey boy. The lot of them are just tired.
And why are you telling me this?
I was going to ask you if you knew anything about it. Perhaps one of yours know. There's been a string of unfortunate incidents as of late. Just recently, some bloke named Christian C was acting all nuts. Off his rocker, that man. And we had to hold him, thought he was drunk. Up until he started bashing his brains in. Now he's a vegetable in a hospital bed.
He's a vegetable? What the hell? I don't like that word, though. I don't like calling people vegetables. That's kind of messed up.
Another time, some Mark Julius was reported missing. Some are thinking we've got a serial killer on our hands as of late. That Cooper lady from BRC got done in, and a Father Norman, too.
Father Norman died?
Bloody hell. Even that Santos girl. She was that detective's friend, you know? Though I keep telling you not to let his emotions get in the way of the job. You have to understand, mate. In a place as peaceful as Luxburn, this makes people wary. Reported crime rates go a bit higher than usual, and it makes them antsy and temperamental.
Are you implying that I have anything to do with them? Because as much as I hate to say it and admit, I am out of the loop. This is the first I've heard of these incidents.
Really, I'd say I'm insulted, but this is par for the course. Harvey knows who and what I am. We have a deal of sorts after all. Crime is always expected in a society with laws, and with humans who are allowed their free will. But why not strike a deal with the devil to make sure that said crime has some order at least?
Ah, well, that's a shame, I suppose. Figured if we could get any leads, it'd be from you.
I can't stop the scoff that leaves me. Can these police officers really be so incompetent? The chief of the damn police force seems to find it amusing, however. Because as far as I can see, whether he believes it or not, he's got it easy in our little deal. He just has to sit back and relax, let me do my thing, and not turn against me while he gets to live a comfy life. But perhaps that's why I haven't killed him off yet. His predecessor to the position wasn't so agreeable.
You know, someday I'll stop turning in my own men when they piss me off. And what will you do then? You and your men will all be lost without me.
I'll just hope that when the time comes, I'll already be all wrinkly and retired then.
It's a play of his, it always is, to act all casual and chuckling at everything like it doesn't faze him. Pretends that he's one of those kind, wise old men type, so that people can't bring themselves to be angry at him. But I've seen him drunk off his arse, bemoaning his fate, what he's become, though he tries to be as vague as he can, even in his inebriated state. And I've seen the malice this man is capable of. That's why it confuses me with how he reacts to what I say next.
So what is our little gollywog looking at?
Now, there's never a time or place for that kind of racist talk, son.
He cuts me off in a firm tone before I can say anything further. There is steel in his eyes as he near slams his fist on the table when he does, and I can't help but sigh, realizing that he's gone through one of his self-righteous streaks, rare as they may be.
You know our little deal ties up my hands when it comes to a lot of things with you. But I hear that Steele is a good kid, and I ask you at least show a bit of respect.
He's a felon. I think I'm entitled to call him what I please. I don't owe him any respect at all.
In my pocket, he may be, but he still chose the path of the policeman himself when he was a young man. And I bet it just boils his blood that he has to deal with the likes of me. But I, in turn, hate this side of him that makes him think he's still some do-gooder, some hero of justice. Because spineless fools were useful, self-righteous ones forced me to do away with them eventually.
You put plenty of your own white men in jail. I don't see you calling them a white cracker or whatever lingo they have nowadays. And if not respect, you can at least owe the lads some basic human decency.
Exactly.
Whatever. But if you gotta stick up your ass about it, I'll concede. He's going behind bars either way, for however long that is.
Besides, what does it matter if he's black or white? The color of his skin doesn't change anything about current circumstances. It's a trifling matter to argue over.
It's 6 months and a fine worth 5,000 for breaking and entering. Unless you'd be willing to go easy on the guy. Let him bump it down to a misdemeanor and juvenile offense. We'll be giving him probation and charge him for the damages.
And that's it?
That's it. That's what a white man gets, and that's what he gets too. Unless you're going to stir up a fuss and make a big deal out of this.
In case you've forgotten, I do what I want, Lee. I don't even see why you protect the man. He's nothing but a petty thief.
And won't that look bad on you? The Luke Wright, getting his panties in a bunch over a petty thief. You said it yourself. He's nothing. Not worth your attention or effort. So why don't you just let me handle it like I'm supposed to?
And I do hate to say it, but he's got me there. I hate that all this power comes with a great balancing act. Be too lax and people will think they could get away with the smallest of things. Be too harsh and people will, well, they'll not want to work with me for long, and that's never a good thing in the long term. And it shows on me poorly if I were to fuss over such an insignificant little maggot.
Now, is that all you're here for?
Well, there is another thing I want to ask.
What? Can't I visit a friend? That detective. Feathers. Should I be concerned about him? He seemed keen.
Feathers? Oh, you mean Frey? Nah, he's not really anything to worry about. I got him assigned to your case to make the whole thing believable.
What? So you're saying that Chief Inspector Lee assigned Ash to the case just so it'd be believable that they were gonna take Luke Wright down? So he gave Ash false hope? And that's why he just took him off the case like that? Wow. You're just letting someone waste their time. Ash spent a year investigating him, and that's just such a waste of Ashton's time, and you made him do that.
The boy's a good detective, one of the best I have on the force. But he won't be able to do shit with all the red tape tying him up. In fact, the higher-ups just took him off your tail.
The case against me? I still have one? Harvey, my dear old friend, have you been slacking off? Surely I told you to take care of that sort of thing. Surely it shouldn't have taken you this long. Surely it should be quiet by now on your end. They shouldn't be assigning anything to what's supposed to be a cold case.
I doubt you've got anything to really worry about unless you go out there and announce the shit you've done. They don't want to accuse the most powerful man in Luxburn without being 100% sure about things, of course.
The way he goes about it so nonchalantly.
But it's because of that company problem Suarez been talking about. Can't believe that's still a thing. You think the geek would have figured it out by now? He's supposed to be a computer genius. Don't go blaming me for it. He's the one slacking off, if you ask me. Don't you be pointing fingers my way.
And has Suarez mentioned anything new about that?
You'd have to ask him about it. You know I don't understand half the technical computer mumbo-jumbo the guy goes on about. It's like the guy speaks a whole other language. Which, technically he does, but you know what I mean.
Yes, I suppose you have a point. Very well, if you haven't got anything else useful for me, I might as well head home. Get some bloody peace and quiet.
I could have some tea, maybe with some whiskey and a nap, and I'll be right as rain. At least one of us should get some good R&R, because it's not like Harvey isn't going to get any. Especially now that his darling wife has left him. Ooh, I'll be making him busy, as punishment for his slacking off and for her disrespect too. Really, I pity the poor old man. Maybe I should send him a gift basket? Perhaps more caffeine and smokes to help him along with his bad habits. Before I can leave the precinct, however, a shoulder bumps into mine. I wait for an apology. And I wait.
Excuse me.
There's a twitch in my eye. Ooh. There's a twitch in my eye that I can't hide as I look back at the rude old bastard. Especially not when all he does is look back at me, as if this is the first time he's seen me. As if he hadn't just nearly shoved me over with his big lump of a body.
You're excused.
The way he says it, the way he looks at me, it leaves me feeling so cold. I have this gut feeling telling me I should know him, but he doesn't even let me get a word in when he disappears through a door.
A bloody wanker.
Stepping out from the chaos, I let in a breath of fresh air, or as fresh as it's going to get in a city. Following the altercation with Ashton Frey, Luke Wright met with LPD's Chief Inspector Lee to discuss what they would be doing with Zachary Steele. He was also surprised to hear that the investigation on the Luxburn firm case was still ongoing, which the chief reassured him about. I do hate going to the precinct. It's a fucking zoo filled with animals, people who step in included. But it's not like the city is any better. Humans are just a higher form of animals after all. We all delude ourselves into thinking otherwise. And I call up the car to take me away from it all. Though I can't bring myself to step inside the house when I do get home. Hannah still rests, I assume. I hear nothing to say otherwise. Not her voice or her laughter, which will easily fill any space with cheer. Everything is quiet, other than the hum of engines from the car being brought away. A bird's cry sounds off from the gardens, snapping me out of my reverie, and makes me look in that direction. It's an easy decision to go there. If Hannah is resting, recovering from sickness, I don't want to disturb her with how agitated and annoyed I am underneath the surface. No matter how well hidden I can keep it. Not to mention, I've been neglecting the garden for too long. Might as well stay put out here for the time being. Gray skies loom over in the horizon, though the sun fights for every precious minute it gets to stay. They say that even when our loved ones have passed on, they stay to watch over us. Though I believe in neither a heaven nor a hell, a hopeful part of me wishes it were true, as ridiculous as the idea is. I can't help but grow still, a chill going up my spine, when I do feel eyes upon me. For a while, I think I'm imagining it, but I'm all too familiar with the sensation of being watched. Carefully, I scan my surroundings, doing my best not to give away the fact that I'm aware of their presence, whoever they are. But there's not a soul in sight on the field surrounding the mansion. Yet, they're on the balcony overlooking the garden. A Chumanalak, trick of the eye. See a shadow lurking in the balcony? Or is there? She stands there, and though I cannot see her face clearly from afar, I know she is the one staring at me. A servant, if one were to judge by her clothing. From this distance, I can't discern what those stains on her clothing are. The woman gives off a rabid air and simply did not belong with her surroundings. That isn't what worries me, though. What worries me, though, is that she isn't one of ours. She can't be. Obvious signs of being tattered and dirty stayed aside, there shouldn't be anyone else in the mansion aside from the three of us. And that's the balcony that leads to our bedroom. Forget pretending that I don't notice her.
You! What are you doing there? You're not supposed to be there!
It's a stupid thing to do, I realize in hindsight, but calling attention to it was a spur-of-the-moment plan. From the height, there's no way she would have jumped off the balcony, and perhaps she would have only been able to sneak in there because Hannah is asleep. Calling out to her would wake Hannah, and at the very least, call Johannes' attention to the matter at hand. I dread to think of any other way she could have gotten there without Hannah calling for us. The woman on the balcony doesn't react, barely even stirs. Wanting some alone time and fresh air, Luke excused himself, lingering in the gardens as he remembered the memory of his late mother. It was all pleasant at first, until he glimpsed someone watching him from the balcony. Probably drug-addled or touched in the head, though that begs the question of how she even managed to get in there. That changes nothing, of course, and it doesn't stop me from running back into the mansion.
Shrokin! There's an intruder! In the bedroom! Upstairs! Secure Hannah immediately!
Bursting in through the front doors, I'm greeted by Johannes with a kitchen knife in his hands, looking wary and alert. There's a question on his lips for a moment, but he's quick to fall into place, giving me a curt nod before we rush up the foyer stairs. That woman would need to go through us to get anywhere, and between me and the butler, there's no way she's getting away. There's no announcing ourselves as I slam the bedroom door open, expecting to see the worst inside. When we find Hannah simply seated at her vanity without a care in the world, my relief can't be any greater. I don't even question if she's well enough to be moving around yet. But that is soon followed by suspicion and caution. Without a word, I signal for Johannes to search through the room for the intruder, even going so far as to slipping into the second bedroom. She couldn't have gone anywhere else, not without getting our attention, not without Hannah noticing. It isn't too far-fetched to think that she may have been coerced to act like nothing is out of the ordinary. If she is being forced to do this, she would be able to tell me without alerting the criminal. We should be ready for such things, after all, being the wealthy, powerful and influential people that we are. And though I hesitate to break her peace, to make her worry any more than she has the right to be, I know that matters of safety shouldn't be taken so lightly. Even if I could just content myself in just watching her.
Are you all right, Hannah?
There's a moment of silence as she fastens a cord around her neck, and with her back still turned to me, she replies as calmly as can be.
Of course I am. Why wouldn't I be? Is there something wrong?
There's no sign of coercion or deceit. She gives none. Everything looks fine, seems fine. Hannah says as much. Stepping out into the balcony doesn't say anything differently. The outside is devoid of signs of any other human life with how secluded the property is. Though it is hard to be sure with how the sun is set, trying to locate anyone on the large property by myself would be futile. Whether it is the truth or a convenient lie, one could only assume that everything is all right. And even Johannes is in agreement.
There's nobody in the second bedroom or in the closet. It's all clear.
Yet I can't fight off the awful feeling that has taken over me.
Are you sure? Nobody? Double check. Triple check everything. Check the whole house if you have to.
What's going on? What is all this then?
He claims to have seen an intruder standing on your balcony. Did you notice anyone here, madam?
No, it's just been me. I've not heard or seen anybody else aside from the two of you all day. Strange.
The others have been given the day off. There shouldn't be anybody else here. Are you sure of what you saw? Perhaps you were...
Yes, I bloody well am sure of what I saw. There was a woman standing there, dark hair and in servant's clothing. Are you insinuating that I am making things up? That I'm going mad?
At least Luke is real about it. Like, I freaking seen her, man. Like, she was there.
Because if you are, I don't care how competent you've been. I won't have such disrespect directed at me. It's not paranoia if people are out to get me.
My anger is easily roused. No thanks to the adrenaline rush that's kicked in sometime I don't know when. I don't think I'll ever get used to this feeling, really. No matter how many a time I've had to rely on it to survive on the streets as a child, to survive everything with how high I've managed to prop myself up, and I take any and all threats towards my person seriously.
I'm not implying that you're mad. The occasional hallucination is a completely normal and human experience, as long as it isn't a repeat occurrence.
Oh, so what? That was a trick of the light? My imagination?
You haven't ingested any alcohol today, have you?
A valid question, but...
I am not drunk!
In my state, I only realize how quiet Hannah has gotten when she doesn't joke about my debatable alcoholism. There's no clever quip or words of fond exasperation. She's only been watching me through all of this. And when I do notice that, I start feeling bugs crawling on my skin. When I didn't deign to speak further, fixated on the sensation, Johannes cuts in.
Whatever the case, we need to establish tighter security. We should have done so from the start. If you were seeing things, then we got lucky. Had there been a real intruder, we were ill prepared.
Of course. I trust that you can hire the most qualified from the agency.
Are you all right, Hannah? You seem disquieted.
I'm well, my love. I was just worried about how the hallucination brought you distress.
It wasn't a hallucination, I'm sure of it. But what can I do to prove otherwise?
Doesn't matter. You are safe, as am I. I overreacted.
Perhaps rest is necessary. It is late into the day, and you must be tired from your gardening.
Before I ask how she knew what I was doing, a small fond smile graces her lips before she brushes away a few yellow petals from my sleeve. But does it really look like I'm that exhausted? I'm sure to be well rested, despite it all, and it's not like I've done anything physically exhausting today. Beyond running here in a hurry anyway, no doubt I've let a trail of the flowers in my mad dash. And I suppose I do look like a mess.
Rest sounds good. I guess I'll need to sleep a lot more than I thought. But
I'll stand guard outside for the night. You two have nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about? I'm not so sure about that. But thinking any more about it isn't going to do anything.
Come on then, my love. Off to bed. I have been restless without you by my side.
Even then, I can't force away the uneasiness that settles over me. Sleep is hard to attain, and even Hannah's embrace does not help. She's still burning up. October 31st, Monday. Really, little sleep was had, and I feel completely drained come morning. That fever, no matter how slight it is, can't be good for her. What with her odd behavior recently? You think she hit her head hard against something while I wasn't looking. Perhaps a proper rest is all she needs, but I'd rather not assume things. I'm a businessman, not a doctor. Wonder of wonders why even bother agreeing to babysitting duty at that. Hannah, on the other hand, will be away for most of the day to get that fever checked. Upon my insistence, it's a small relief that Johannes will be with her.
Are there any updates about the woman?
But something catches my eye. My clothes and personal effects are already set on the dresser for the day. Boxers, trousers, belt, and socks on one side with my shirt, jacket, and tie on the other. It's always the same thing. Always. Cufflinks, colognes, and anything else I would like to add stays in the dresser for me to choose from. It's all routine. However, among the silvers, the gray and the red is a tiny blue box.
Now, what is this?
The thing is small and light, fitting in the palm of my hand. Too big to be a ring box, but too large to be a watch box. Looking at it closer, I see that it's one of my handkerchiefs used for wrapping. It's easily enough to untie the knot to reveal a plain box inside. An odd and quaint way to wrap up a gift, I suppose. Though presentation should be the last thing I need to be worried about. Mail, packages, gifts, and the likes are supposed to be vetted before they get to me. In the morning, Johannes would hand me a list of things I need to look over and go through, yet there was no forewarning of this. Immediately, I dropped the thing as if it burned me.
I shouldn't have touched that. I shouldn't have touched that.
It very well might have. Without security going over it, it could be a nasty gift for me. I can still remember when a security guard died to contact poison that covered an innocent enough birthday card, for fuck's sake. Alright guys, I'm gonna end this episode right here. Oh my god. Zach, dude. That's all I can think about is Zach. Just, you know, his eyes, you know, being gouged out like that. And just, I don't know, just the fact that Ash didn't see him, like, I feel like he could have done something to try to get him out. I mean, but I guess not, right? I mean, there's like red tape over it and stuff like that. So, like I said, the deaths are so hard in this game. But now we're seeing Luke's chapter, and we're dealing with possessed Hannah. So I'm just wondering what the hell is going to happen. Like, I'm scared she might attack Luke or something. But we're just going to have to see what happens in the next episode. So share the content. If you're enjoying my playthrough of the letter so far, please leave a like. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments. And make sure to subscribe and click that bell button so you know when I upload the next episode of the letter. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great night. Bye.